The Bit Wars by Ali E. Now, before you want to know anything about the Bit Wars, you want to first know what a bit is. A bit is a basic unit of information in computing and digital communications. So, the Bit Wars started. Now, it started when two gaming companies, Sega and Nintendo, wanted to see who could produce better consoles. So, the first two consoles produced by these companies at the beginning of this race was the SG-1000 by Sega, and you had the NES by Nintendo. Now both of these at the time was 8 bits, so it wasn't really that advanced. And Sega takes the lead. Now at the end of the 1980s, Sega took the lead by producing the Sega Genesis, which was a 16-bit console. Over here, it had twice the more bits than the NES, so it was a lot more powerful, and it ran better games, and it had better graphics as well, the games. So at this point, Sega was in a much better position. Now then, the SNES is released in the beginning of the 1990s in order to rival the power of the Sega Genesis. It released a lot of very good games. It was 16-bit as well, and it matched to the power of the original Sega Genesis. Now, as you see over here, this is the SNES by Nintendo. Now, what Sega did was this is actually the second model of the Sega Genesis, and it has a bunch of modules attached to it. It has the Sega CD on top and the 32X, which is meant to increase the lifespan and make it perform better than the SNES. And 64 triumphs. So then came, now this is near the end of the 1990s and the end of the Bit Wars, near the end of the Bit Wars. So Nintendo and Sega released their 64-bit consoles. So over here on the left side we have the N64, which is the first 64-bit console by Nintendo. And over here you have the Dreamcast, which is Sega's 64 console. So what happened was that now the Dreamcast only lasted a year because Sega started to decline in producing games for the Dreamcast, and also a change in staff and a new CEO wanted to go towards producing games for other consoles rather than making their own consoles. In conclusion, that Nintendo won the war. They pretty much produced, they caught up to Sega, and also because Sega had a change in staff and technical difficulties, they took the lead, and Sega just ended up being a company that produced games rather than producing home consoles, while Nintendo kept producing games, such as they produced other games after the N64, and they also produced other consoles such as the GameCube, the Wii, and the Wii U, which we have now.